finally understanding the depth of the Japanese gratitude. Because, take for example, the work environment, there is, at the end of the day, they say, Otsukara desu. And Otsukara desu means thank you for your hard work. Somebody will see you on the street coming home from work and they say, thank you for your hard work.
That's
Somebody will
amazing.
see you going to work and they say, thank you for your hard work. Because there's a sense that of community in that whatever you go out to do transcends to me in some way, shape, or form. If you're a teacher, you're helping the Japanese kids become more globally aware and become more fluent in a language that they can use to thrive in their future. If you go and you work on a construction site, okay, you're building infrastructure in our community and you're helping us to become more modern. There's that sense of constant gratitude because everybody plays a role of significance in each other's lives.
Welcome to the Gratitude Podcast on www.georgianbenta.com, where you'll hear a new story each week that will inspire more gratitude in your own life. Our mission is to inspire 100,000 people to discover how to feel gratitude and live a happy life through the amazing life stories of our successful guests and their actionable tips. And now, the host of our podcast, Georgian Benta.
Hi, Gratitude Seeker. Welcome to a new episode of the Gratitude Podcast. Today with us, we have someone that also loves gratitude, at least as much as I do. And she seeks to encourage and empower others towards a more grateful life. She is originally from Jamaica and she's living in Japan, which I find fascinating because, as you know by now, I love learning from different cultures and also, of course, talking about perspectives that people have on gratitude in different parts of the world. So our guest today will definitely be able to share a very interesting perspective on that as well. She also empowers female trauma survivors by teaching them how to create abundance through gratitude. Her name is Naudia, and she is here with us to talk about gratitude and many, many interesting things. Naudia, welcome to the Gratitude Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So, firstly, let us know a little bit more about you, about how you got to live where you live. And from there on, I have many questions, but I will start with that.
All right. I left Jamaica 4 years ago, almost. August will make 4 years. And that was after I was actually almost at the end of my divorce proceedings. And I knew I needed a change. It was borderline running away, as well as knowing that a new environment is a great catalyst to bring about a transformation if you are seeking one. I have friends who were living in Japan for a few years and they always encouraged me to come. So I decided that at this stage in my life, it would be good for me to branch out into a new environment, change countries, new language, new people, new culture. It was all new. And it was geared to being an opportunity for me to just dive into myself, being that everything about me was different. It would require me to dig into myself to be able to stand firm and find my groundedness. So I chose to come to Japan and I've been here since.
Wow. I think that's so brave, and I really appreciate you for that, and I think it's something amazing to be able to take on life in this way, to go so far away and to just immerse yourself in a new culture, in a new language. I think that's pretty amazing. Do you feel that gratitude has helped you on this journey?
It most definitely has, because for me, my journey started in 2015 on New Year's Day. At that time, I was a devoted Christian, and it was at the end of the New Year's Eve service. I stood at the back of the church and I made a decision that from henceforth, First Thessalonians 5 verses 18, which says, "In everything give thanks," that was gonna be my default mode. And it was not always a smooth journey like any other habit. It takes work to be consistent, to be committed, and to reap the benefits of the changed persona that you're taking on. So, yeah, being here, I was able to just, I actually started my a more consistent gratitude journaling practice when I came to Japan.
Mm.
I was living in a rural area, small town, didn't know anybody. So my time was um, focused on cooking, getting house plants and taking care of them. I started drawing mandalas, which I'm actually drawing as we speak, as well as maintaining a gratitude journal, just to take stock of my life as it was at the moment and give thanks for the experiences that brought me to that place at which I was when I started becoming more consistent with my practice.
Wow. It's really interesting to see how resilient we are as humans and how capable we are of bold moves and courageous action. And I think this is just very powerful and very inspiring, at least for me, and I'm sure it is, and it will be for our listeners as well. From my experience in the interviews and my own personal experience, gratitude and gratitude journaling is like the base, the base of the structure, of the emotional structure in our life. And I don't know if that has been your experience or not, but it's something that helps us have something consistently positive to help us in the daily challenges. Do you feel that it was like that for you as well in Japan?
It definitely has, because being a foreigner in a land where I look completely different, it's not like I'm Caucasian where I can somewhat blend in based on close skin color. I'm a black woman, so I stick out like a sore thumb. And for me, there are times I wouldn't say I got lonely, but I was very close. And what I did was dive in and looked at the good things in my life. There is, it's impossible for you to be depressed and grateful at the same time, because
That's so true.
gratitude in and of itself, um, it triggers a dopamine release, which helps you to feel happier and feel more connected and more joyful. So when you start to focus on the good things, those juices start to flow and you can lift yourself up out of a sad state. So at times when I felt overwhelmed or alone or wondered what next, gratitude helped me to stay present right now by looking at what's happening right now. And in doing so, I was able to get through some days when I felt like I just didn't want to continue.
Yeah. We all have these kinds of days, and I think that's why I believe gratitude is so helpful because it helps us get back on track, and it creates this consistency and this consistently positive habit that's very helpful. And yeah, I think it's something very powerful that we both believe in. But I'm really curious if you want to share if you've been looking into it. Um, have you seen some things that are specific, for instance, to either the Jamaican culture or the Japanese culture that have to do with gratitude?
I would like to speak on the Japanese culture with
Mm-hmm.
respect to gratitude. The Japanese word for thank you is arigato. And there's a principle of being, sometimes at first, honestly, I felt annoyed at first. There's this sense of humility and lowliness about Japanese people. They say, I'm sorry a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
they say, thank you a lot. And I am just like in the past 4 or 5 months, finally understanding the depth of the Japanese gratitude because, take for example, the work environment. There is, at the end of the day, they say, Otsukara sama de. And Otsukara sama des means thank you for your hard work.
Wow,
Somebody will see you on the street coming home from work and they say, thank you for your hard work.
that's
Somebody will
amazing.
see you going to work and they say, thank you for your hard work. Because there's a sense that of community in that whatever you go out to do transcends to me in some way, shape, or form. If you're a teacher, you're helping the Japanese kids become more globally aware and become more fluent in a language that they can use to thrive in their future. If you go and you work on a construction site, okay, you're building infrastructure in our community and you're helping us to become more modern. There's that sense of constant gratitude because everybody plays a role of significance in each other's lives. And that's something that I'm grateful for experience because at first I was like, why are you telling me thank you? I'm being paid for this. This is something that I'm supposed to do. So Oscar this for what? But then I'm like, okay, I get it because I could actually be at work and slack off. I could actually be at work and not do a good job. So if I do a good job, you're saying we acknowledge the work that you've done and are doing. And that is something that in turn encourages commitment, encourages people to go above and beyond. So that's something I noted in Japanese culture that I am grateful for having the opportunity to experience.
Wow, this is wow. It gives me the chills, and it's so beautiful. The fact that you
It,
know that, and it's so wise. Like people understand the fact that we are interconnected. That what you do matters, and even though it doesn't matter like directly all the time, it still does, and it still has an impact, and it's still something to be grateful for. I think that's amazing, and that's wow. I'm blown away by this, and I can only imagine the impact it can have on a society that works like this and that appreciates the people that are working and that are contributing in one way or another to the greater good of that society. That's wow.
Mhm. There's something else that I want to mention. There's this Japanese author. He has a book called Happy Money, and he on his book it says Ken Honda, Japan's best-selling Zen millionaire. And the key um, point from this book is practicing a principle called arigato money. And as I told you, arigato means thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So the general principle that he teaches, which he got from his mentor, which is the Wahei Takeda, and Wahei Takeda is synonymous with the Warren Buffett of America.
Mm-hmm.
And this gentleman taught him, you need to thank your money when it comes in and thank your money when it goes out. That is when your money will smile at you, when you will have a happy relationship with money. So that's one of the key things that I noticed. And I mentioned it because he is a Japanese.
Yeah.
And this principle that he teaches is something that I've adapted to my life that I seek to teach others, because in most of us have heard or is programmed to think that money is bad and the love of money is the root of all evil. So when you think money, you think rich people are evil or they're greedy or, you should not be wealthy. But then again, abundance is our birthright. But how
Exactly.
do we access that birthright when we are blocked with the idea that this means of abundance is not good? And if you think it's not good, if you tell somebody that they are awful and you don't appreciate them, or let's flip it, somebody does that to you, are you going to stick around?
No way.
Okay. So money has ears and eyes and it has emotions too.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true, and this is so powerful because um, when we say, for instance, um, that certain food isn't good for you, you won't eat it. If we say that
Hmm.
money is bad for you, you won't take it, and
And you
um,
won't keep it, you'll find a way to get rid of it.
exactly, and that's just not healthy. And that's not just not healthy, but it's keeping us away from the abundance that we can actually experience and the joy of giving away money and of receiving money, because it's really a joy
Exactly.
when you get to live it.
Hmm. It is.
Yeah, so I think that's such a great point, and it's so important for all of us to just take a few minutes and think about it and realize how impactful it actually is in our life, because we like money or we don't like money. We are going to have to make all kinds of transactions in which either we receive money or we give money away.
Hmm.
So it's something, I believe these small things that we keep repeating are so important in our life. They have
It
such
is.
a big impact whether we see it or not. They are actually the building blocks of our life, and I think it's very important for us to think about them and to choose another way, because we can choose another way, and this is the beauty of it. If we are open enough, we can choose another way. But I
Yeah.
also wanted to get to something else. How did you discover gratitude? Like, were you grateful as a child, or did you have like an experience, or how did you become such a grateful person?
Well, growing up in a Christian environment, it's taught that you should be grateful. You should say thank you. You should appreciate what you have. However, it wasn't until I um, started learning about the law of attraction that I started seeing the whole aspect of faith and gratitude in a whole new light. I started learning about the scientific facts about gratitude. It was no longer just are really just principles that you adhere to because you are told that you're supposed to do so. It started making sense for me on a deeper level because I'm a scientist professionally. So when I started reading and I was coming across the whole research work on gratitude because of what I was learning about law of attraction, I was like, I think this is something that I need to try. The the big push came for me when I was doing therapy.
This episode is sponsored by SaveTheChildren.org. Save the Children believes every child deserves a future. In the United States and around the world, we work together every day to give children a healthy start in life, the opportunity to learn, and protection from harm. We deliver lasting results for millions of children, including those hardest to reach. We do whatever it takes for children, every day and in times of crisis, transforming their lives and the future we share. Right now, the coronavirus is the biggest global health crisis of our lifetime, and it threatens children in every way. COVID-19 has already left many children without caregivers, out of school, and exposed to violence and exploitation. Children's poverty is rising. With your support, we can help children in unsafe households and help support distance learning in the face of school closures. Here are some ways your support can make a difference. Choose one or two examples of how far a donation from $5 to $50 can help vulnerable children. Baby's First Book. $5 can buy a baby's first book, providing comfort and inspiring lifelong love of learning. Healthy Meals. $5 can provide a nutritious breakfast and lunch for a child who usually relies on school for food. Learning Supplies. $50 can deliver essentials that keep kids learning while out of school, like books, activities, and supplies. 20 Healthy Meals. $50 can serve 10 hungry out-of-school children a nutritious breakfast and lunch. These are just a few examples. You can go to savethechildren.org/savekids, savethechildren.org/savekids to find out more.
I journaled a lot. However, my journaling was most times geared toward what's happening right now, which oftentimes is the stress, the confusion, the depression, the hopes which are still clouded by the sadness. No, I I love researching. I'm a scientist, so I read a lot, I googled a lot, and a lot of articles kept coming up about practicing gratitude. So practicing gratitude came up on the internet, plus it's coming up in the law of attraction principles. I decided this is something that I was going to adopt as a part of my life. Because how does gratitude play in with law of attraction is that gratitude is actually one of the highest frequency emotions that you can experience. Gratitude is both an emotion, it's a mood, and it's a disposition. So you can feel grateful right now, the emotion of it and the mood of it, but not truly be a grateful person. There's a difference. There's a difference between feeling gratitude right now and being a grateful person. And that's where the disposition comes in because you can be grateful in the moment when things are going good. How about when things are going bad? A person with a grateful disposition is able to still practice gratitude completely and fully, even while experiencing something that they would rather not be experiencing at the moment. So that attitude, that ability is what will help you to plummet and rise above and bring you in what you would say the receiving mode, to receive from God, receive from the universe the things that are due unto you. So it's just understanding those things that gave me the drive to pursue this lifestyle. And that's when I shifted my journaling from journaling about what is happening now within a negative framework to a more positive framework, and gratitude was that positive framework for me.
Beautiful, beautiful. And what are some things that you love journaling about in your gratitude journal?
I have this a few journaling points that I focus on. One of them is called Remember When. I think I use this one the most. And remember when is looking at something that you have now and remembering when you didn't have that thing.
Mm.
And I literally do remember when every morning because when I sit on my toilet, I feel grateful because I grew up with pit latrine, outside toilet, pit.
Oh, I see.
I grew up with that. When I go and I take a shower and I can choose between hot and cold water, I can choose between spray water being sprayed out of the faucet or just pouring through one hole. I feel grateful because I remember it was a hose for me. The fact that I have a window that I can close and I have a bath, I feel grateful because at one point there was zinc with boys next door peeping on me through little cracks in the zinc. So remember when, is key for me. I can remember when I did not have a two-burner gas stove. I had a portable stove, and I'm talking about since being in Japan. I had this little portable stove with that like camping stove. And Lord help me if the gas ends while I'm cooking. It was just one burner, so I had to cook,
Oh my God.
then cook rice or whatever else, and I had to wait, which made cooking take longer or limited me in the type of things that I wanted to cook. So when I see my stove, I remember when I didn't have it, and I'm grateful. So that's one technique that I use in my gratitude journaling. There's also, another one that I use, which is called the absence of blessing. Sometimes we have this saying in Jamaica, a cow never know the use of its tail until it's gone. You don't
Mm.
appreciate stuff until you no longer have it. So why not right now sit down and look at things around you and then take them away mentally and see how different your life would be? When you do that, then you can say, I'm really grateful for this thing because I see how it has added value to my life. So those are just two of the techniques that I use in my gratitude journaling. There's also comparison, this or that. The fact that right now I'm drinking a cup of tea versus a cup of coffee, the fact that I have a choice is something, it's all about the fact that you have choices. While I would rather be living in a more suburban, rural area because I love nature, I'm living in the city. I have a choice, and that the fact that I have that choice is something to be grateful for because some people cannot leave their rural village no matter how much they want because they don't have the means, they don't have the resources, they don't have the access to get out. So I have a choice as to whether or not I live in the city or I live in a rural area. And I chose the city because of convenience for work. So, it's those little things that you can do to just zone in on the beauty of your life. Yeah, so I'll leave you with those three.
I love them. I love them. And they are so powerful because I think it's very important for our listeners and in general for people to know that you can practice gratitude in other ways than just writing that I'm thankful for,
Three good
because
things.
yeah, exactly, because at times it's really hard to think of them. It's really not that easy for many people, and I think that we need these kinds of ideas to be able to actually get into the feeling of gratitude, and these are beautiful. Like I really love them, and I think they are so powerful and so useful for all of us. Even though we have had different experiences and different things that we didn't have when we were growing up, or even a few years ago, we can still find those things that we now have that we didn't have, and we can appreciate them so much, and that can really make a big difference in how we live these simple things, these just small things that we actually, like I was saying before, we are experiencing them so often, and these are actually the building blocks of our life, the things that we that make up our life much more than the bigger things that happen every once in a while. This is the life, and
That is it.
yeah, that's why
One of the
I
things,
really
oh,
love
sorry,
them.
go ahead.
Yeah, sure,
You
go
know,
ahead.
for me, one of the things for me, my goal is to get people to understand that gratitude has nothing to do with the big things. Or not, let me not say nothing to do. It's not the focus. The big things
Mm-hmm.
come, as you say, now and again. But every day, in our everyday life, there are so many things to be grateful for. For example, I'm a teacher now. I teach preschool kids, and my body has been feeling really tight. So I have been doing like my little mini yoga while they play or while they're doing work. And I remember yesterday they it was their free play time, so I was just there doing a forward bend. So my leg was open, and one by one they decided it was so cool to make a train and go through my leg. And just being there watching them, I'm in my semi-meditative state, just stretching my back, just being present, hearing their laughter, seeing the smile on their faces that they got just because, oh, now they opened their leg. Yeah, we have a tunnel. Let's go through it. In that moment, I was overwhelmed with gratitude that one, I was at that point in time a source of joy for them.
Mm.
And on the flip side, I was grateful that they trusted me to, use me for their little tunnel, for their little game. And I also felt grateful just to be able to see their smiles, just to be able to hear their laughter, just to be able to experience them in that moment. And I always have a notebook on me. So my notebook was actually right on the counter next to me. So I just stood up and scribbled it. I'm grateful for this moment, and I expressed what the moment was. So I encourage people to have a small journal on them or just put it in your notes app. My notes app has a lot that has not made its way into my physical journal.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when I scroll through, I'm like, oh, I remember this. Ah, nice. And practicing journaling your gratitude for me is more potent than just saying it out loud and let it go into the air and be forgotten. When you write it down, you get to relive it over and over every time you open that book or that app to read it. I have about four journals, and when I go back through them, oh, I totally forget that this happened.
Exactly,
So,
exactly.
yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, this is how our brain works, and that's why gratitude journaling is so powerful, because our brain is focused, a lot of it at least, on getting us to survive, to um, make sure we deal with the challenges that we have each day in a good manner. But if we're not used to this habit to focusing also on the good things that are happening and writing them down, it's when we go to bed at night, we might just feel tired and not remember the good things that have happened, because they are not so relevant for the brain for its survival or for our survival, but they are the things that actually make us thrive and make us feel happy about what we accomplished, what we lived in that day. And writing things down, like you said, it's so important for all of us, because we are living the beautiful feeling once. When we experience it, we remember it while we're writing it, and also we can relive it many times after the actual experience. And that's very important and very powerful for us to have this choice, this option, and to just
Yeah.
realize that we do.
Dr. Robert Emmons, who is the leading researcher on the topic of gratitude, in his book, Thanks, no, not Thanks, it's Gratitude Works. He has this quote that says, "Remember to remember,"
Mm.
because the key, the key principle in practicing gratitude is remembering the good. Because if you don't remember it, you can't note it and you can't feel the emotion of gratitude if you don't remember what's there to be grateful for. So
Exactly.
remember to remember. Sounds a little weird, but remember to remember the good.
Yeah, exactly. That's such an important part of our human experience, because we have so many things that are good and that are working. And um, getting back a little bit to your third way of experiencing gratitude, it's actually a choice. Like many of the things that we are experiencing right now are choices and are things that we choose, and that actually are great for us, and we can get each day a lot of things to be grateful for them. And we tend to forget about them because we have something else that needs to be done, or all kinds of stimuli from the exterior, that, or even from the interior, that just take our focus away from those positive experiences. And making sure that we store them somewhere and we remember them, it's such a blessing, and such a different way of experiencing life and getting out of it.
Yes, it is.
So we are nearing the end of our time together, and I wanted to ask you if you want to share some of the people in your life that you're grateful for.
Oh, um, the first person that comes to mind is actually a friend I have back home in Jamaica. I have a property in Jamaica, and it's challenging to be a property owner while living away.
Mm.
And I am grateful for her because she has been taking care of everything. I experienced a bit of financial difficulty in the past month and a half, and I needed some repairs done on my house before the new tenants went in, and she just stepped in. She just took care of everything.
Wow.
And I'm like, girl, you don't know how much I appreciate having you. Sometimes, honestly, I forget about any issues surrounding the house because I have this assurance and this peace that she provides through her presence, that things are being taken care of. So I
That's
don't need to
amazing.
give myself a headache over stuff happening 13,000 miles away from me, because she's there in my corner. So I'm grateful for her. I'm grateful for my partner who supports my dreams, who encourages me. I'm grateful for my family who cheers me on, you know. I'm grateful as well for my Japanese friends who help me with things like filling out forms. That can be a headache when you live in a country where you don't speak the language or read it, and you have business transactions to make with government entities. It's a blessing for me to have friends who will fill out forms for me and be confident and trusting that they're going to do it just as how they would do it for themselves.
Yeah.
So, yes, and those are just a few people that I'm grateful for right now.
Yeah, I couldn't help but see the fact that some of them, the biggest things that you mentioned that you're grateful for are things that in which you yourself, like by yourself, you wouldn't be able to experience them or to do them. And it's so wonderful that even though this might be something negative, the fact that we have people helping us out with these kinds of things actually turns it around, that makes it a blessing, you know.
Yeah, that's key. That's key. It
Yeah,
it makes life better. There's a saying, no man is an island, and when you recognize that every single person on this planet, in some way, shape, or form, is adding to your life, you recognize that, you ought to just say thanks for people.
that's
People
amazing.
are essential to our survival. And when we hold on to that idea, you know, our ability to experience gratitude for people, even the ones that trip us up, even the ones that hurt us or cause us to feel hurt within ourselves, are people that we ought to be grateful for. I'm going to share an experience quickly before we go.
Sure.
A month ago, I had an experience with my ex-husband that so triggered me that I had to take 2 days off from work. That's how bad the level of stress that was triggered within me affected my body. And I felt grateful for him within a few hours of the experience. So even though my body was out, my mind had been renewed because the experience was so triggering that it brought up a deep rooted old belief and a statement that I made concerning him while I was going through divorce concerning my finances.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that that belief, that statement came to the fore, I was able to start working on reframing that statement so that I can open new channels within my life, to further unblock myself from my birthright of abundance. So I felt grateful for the experience. I felt grateful for what he did, which on the surface was an awful thing, but turned out to be a very good thing because we tend to carry some hurt, we carry pain, we carry beliefs based on traumatic experiences that we've had in the past that are messing up our lives, but we cannot see them because they're so deeply embedded in our psyche. So what he did was enough to give me such a shake that it's like it's launched it from the depths of my being and had it standing right in front of me like a wall. And I was like, wow, I forgot about you. I forgot I said that. Oh, thank you, dear ex-husband, for doing this.
That's amazing. That's such a powerful way of seeing things, and so empowering, and so beautiful to see that we are able to have this choice and to see things in a different way, and to get empowered. instead of feeling weak or, I don't know, other things that aren't actually helping us experience the life that we want to experience.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing so many amazing ideas. I really appreciate it. Let us know where we can get in touch with you, where our audience can find you.
For my gratitude, my work on gratitude is found on raw, like raw meat, raw soul, RAWSOUL, gratitude. That's my Instagram page. I'm currently working on my website, but right now, Raw Soul Gratitude is where you can find me. And if you so happen to be interested in mandala artworks, then my artworks can be found at Raw Soul Art _ on Instagram platform.
Beautiful. Thank you once again so much for your time and for sharing so many amazing ideas with us. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure. If we want some change, not just for the short term, but long-lasting change, we need to do small things differently each day. Not big things every once in a while, but small changes that will get us to a very different place in our life in a few weeks, in a few months, and for the next 10 or 20 years of our life. To help you on this journey, I've created this course with video lessons, with templates that you can use, with fun questions and really interesting exercises, and also a little bit of play, because once we play, once we go into that childlike state, we learn much easier, and the things that we learn stick with us for a longer period of time. Once you buy the course, you won't receive it all at once. You will receive the first week's video, the explainer of the first week, and also the first week's exercise and template that you will be able to use. But you will only get access to the second week 7 days after the first one. So you won't be overwhelmed with a lot of information. I've created it in a way in which you will be able to find the time for it. It's especially great for those of you who want to commit to changing their lives for the better. It won't be a big time commitment, but even though it won't take a lot of your time, the results will be amazing. Go to georgianbenta.com/abundance or just visit the link in the description. I'm really looking forward to serving you on a deeper level, and I hope I'll be seeing you in the course forum.